good. I'm gonna put some shirts. You can see me. I'll also make sure that this went through correctly. So give me a moment while I do all of that and get set up. We got a couple designs today. Some script, some bubbly type of graffiti letters, some graffiti styled things, and some other stuff or whatever. Come on, do the thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. An ad. That's right. I am now monetized on YouTube, guys. Okay. Look, sounds good. Pardon me. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute myself. All right, now I can see chat. That was the whole point. I can see the chats. I can respond to chats. That's what we're gonna do today. Is some chats. Please ask questions when you have questions. I would love to get your feedback on some things and whatnot. Let's start with the simple script design over here. Let me get set up. Sorry guys, it's been a minute. Okay. We're writing the Highlands, just in a simple style to get warmed up. The Highlands, all one word, weird. All in black. The Highlands. Okay. Let's do the thing. That's it. The Highlands, yeah. Alright. I'm gonna thicken up my script a little bit, because it would be very simple without doing that. And on the next shirt, we're going to do some graffiti letters. I'm going to walk through, as I always do, the process I use to space everything out. And hopefully we'll have a little more time in this one where I can have some more fun with the letters. Lately they've been pretty simple. I'm missing doing more elaborate letters, so we're going to do some of that today. I think it's going to be fun. Go ahead and add a drop shadow on here. I'm officially monetized on YouTube. I'm finally a partner. So I get to finally make some money here on YouTube, and that means I can paint less shirts and paint more tutorials for you guys. I get to make some content soon, because that can help supplement the income that I need to survive. You can always support me just by watching the videos and subscribing. That's a great way to do it, but there's also those donations, those super chats or whatever, if you're feeling generous. I don't know what all that looks like yet. I've never gotten one yet, but we'll see. Alright, that's good enough for now. I think we'll start with this guy. This will be fun. This is the graffiti design with a boombox and all that. I kind of want to do the back first. Instead of all the boombox bricks, let's just do some letters. Red, blue, and orange. That's an interesting color combination. I think I'm going to do mostly blue and orange and a little bit of red. Let's do orange letters. Then I'll put a little bit of red in with the orange, I guess. Did you see that moth fly by? Congrats, that's a milestone. Yes, thank you. I'm really hoping. Hi, kids. With the Z. I'm gonna go ahead and stack the text. Hi, kids, on top of each other. Okay. This is the back, right? Yeah. First, we fix the airbrush again. Simplest version of the letters first. All for spacing. This still is not working right. These airbrushes have been sitting for a while, so they got some dried paint in them, sitting over the weekend. Should be fun. You know, or not. I really don't want to go through the whole troubleshooting process. I guess that's what we have to do, isn't it? We're gonna fix the airbrush together. I'm gonna spray some water through the front there. I'm gonna take the tip off and just, as always, use this needle on the airbrush to gently push the dried paint out of the front of the cone. That's usually a step one for troubleshooting when I know something's not spraying right. It's probably because I got dried paint sitting here. And that's because I leave my airbrushes out 24/7. Usually people don't do that, so this might not be your first go-to step, but it is for me. I do that. And now I'm going to spray some air straight through this hose in the bottle. Hopefully the camera's right. Yep, it's a little close. And I'm going to feel, making sure that air is actually going through the tube and coming back out. If air wasn't coming out of this air hole, and I didn't feel bubbles, I would know there's a blockage in there. If there's not a blockage there or there, we should be painting just fine. We're good to go. Okay. What's up? What's up, guys? I'm going to move this so I can see it better. That'll work. Hi, kids. Let's elaborate a little bit on these letters before I do the black outlines. I'm just going to block them out a little more. Normally this isn't what I would do. I mean, I do this in my head usually. But you guys can't see what's in my head, so I have to do it here. Just going to block out these shapes. Making sure all the important parts of my letters, like the holes, are visible so the lettering is clear. Making sure I have some symmetry and balance to the whole design. And this isn't the final step for the letters. When I come in with my black, I always add some more detail there. This is really just the layout step still. This orange paint's giving me problems. Should be good enough. We're not going to get super crazy with it, but we're going to have a little bit of fun. Okay. In with the black, I'm going to just try to make a couple extra cuts and stuff in the letters to make it more interesting than normal. I'm also kind of warming up here. I haven't painted since last week. Been working on my... We bought a new pop-up camper. Not a new one. We bought an old, crappy pop-up camper that we have to fix, and it's been a lot of work. So I've been cleaning out mildew all week. It's been fun. Finding rotten wood everywhere and replacing it. It's neat. These letters really aren't that interesting, are they? I'm trying to balance the fact that I have a whole lot of orders to do at the very moment. I'm trying to catch up with the fact that I'm streaming and I want to go nice and slow and explain everything. So maybe that's a problem. Alright. I'm gonna do some drop shadows. I'm gonna play around a little bit here. Usually I'll just do a solid black drop shadow at the bottom. Today I'm gonna start with this and see what happens. Maybe I'll add some shading, some 3D effects, I don't know. Let me make this known. I'm always winging it. I never know what I'm doing, okay? I'm just good at pretending I know what I'm doing. When I start these live streams, I just take a deep breath and go, alright, I hope I say something smart. And sometimes it works. I'm never actually ready. There's a mosquito flying around and I don't like it. Okay. I'm not trying to spend so much time on that. I'm going to color this in, then we're going to do these beach graffiti designs. Those will be fun. Just got gunky paint today. That's better. I got a big old booger out of there. Nobody likes boogers. I don't have my music on. I am not prepared for the day. I'm gonna add this red, then I'm gonna do a blue outline. And then white highlights everywhere. You guys know what I think about white highlights. I think nothing is complete without some white highlights. I'm going to use a yellow to help blend these two colors together. You're not really going to see it much by itself, but just adding that median color helps blend everything. And blue. So I made that helmet camera that I introduced in the last video, but I realized that GoPro, when you're streaming on GoPro, you can't have the GoPro upside down. You can record upside down. What that helmet has it mounted upside down and it won't let me flip anything over. So I have to do I have to write my own software, basically, to throw through a different server to make that work. So I just got a regular old head strap on, and I feel like I wasted my time, and I'm sad about it. But this camera angle, I guess, looks fine. It's typical for me to overcomplicate something and then realize that the solution was really simple in the first place. I'm gonna do white. I need to shake the white up real good because it's been sitting over the weekend. And I get stuck in there good. Bye. My white's looking a little transparent. I might have over reduced it. I can fix that just by adding some more white back into it. Alright, I want to move on from this. I'm not having fun with that anymore. I'll come back to it later probably. I want to do this one. The long sleeve, that's this one. We're going to write the word sunshine. That's a lie. We're going to write the word sun. There's spiders crawling all over my paper. Get out of here. Hopefully you can see that design. It's like a bubbly, nice, let me not give away an address. Nice bubbly design with a sunset inside it. I think it's going to be neat. Go straight in with black. I'm gonna go for some more rounded letters. Nice bubbly ones today. You guys are quiet today. The one day I can see my comments, no one wants to talk. I guess it's the chat, not the comments. Sunshine. Okay. There's solid drop shadow underneath it. And I want to add some palm trees. Usually I put the palm trees inside the design, but I haven't liked doing that lately. It just seems too crowded in there. I'm gonna just throw them on the top like this. Some grass and a bird just because. And we'll balance it out with another one over here. A smaller one. Some happy little trees. Well, R.I.P. Bob Ross. That'll be fine. Well, if you insist. What is your background in penmanship, typography, hand lettering? All of my lettering practice, thank you for commenting by the way, is all from airbrushing. Before I started airbrushing, I had no lettering or graffiti or calligraphy skill whatsoever. That's all from this airbrush. Saying that though, there are two different skills. Your airbrushing skill and your typography lettering skill are two different things that you need to learn. I just happened to learn them at the same time, over time. It was almost embarrassing. When I was hired painting t-shirts for the first time, my boss asked me to write a cursive alphabet. And I couldn't even think of what some of the letters would look like. You know, I had no experience whatsoever. Terrible handwriting. I don't know how I got the job. He knew I was creative and artistic, but there was no lettering skill there whatsoever. And it took me years to start writing alphabets that looked good. There was no concept for how flourishes and things should look. There was no concept about graffiti. I was not into graffiti before airbrushing. All this came from just painting orders over and over again. At first, when you learn airbrushing, you do a lot of bubble designs. Block and bubble are like the typical terminology to use for the fonts. And they're kind of graffiti letters, but they're not complex graffiti. They're just bubbly letters. And I started doing those. I enjoyed those, and I got better and better at those. And I would say probably maybe 10 years into airbrushing is when I started saying, hey, I'm going to actually paint what I would consider graffiti letters, and started offering those on the website and for sale. And those were a lot more popular than the rest of the designs, and I enjoyed doing them a lot more. And these aren't really good examples of that. This is really simple, but real true graffiti is what I enjoy doing most. In the airbrush world, calligraphy, script type designs, cursive is what pays the bills. That's what people are all looking for, and it's nice and quick. So I've gotten a lot of practice with that, but at the end of the day, this kind of stuff is a lot more fun. I don't know if you can see that. Some of those yellow lines that I made for the initial sketches of the letters are shining through because I just brain farted and didn't think about it. So I'm adding white to kind of cover up where you see those. I'm going to use the pink on the outside. Nice bright color. about that calligraphy and lettering experience. I'm no good writing with a pen and paper. I feel like my artistic talent is almost tied to the airbrush at this point. So where I'm using a pencil or a pen on paper, I just can't quite get the same shapes and flow that I do when I'm using one of these guys. That's why I'm such an advocate for this tool, the airbrush itself. And why I have 30 of them. You see there I added some extra pink overspray. It's not really overspray, but some extra pink spray there just so that I could come back with this white and kind of cut it away. Just to add some extra contrast to the design. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one next. This one's a little different. Here we have some more cursive letters, but they're bubbly cursive letters. Hopefully you can see that. Chinga la migra. I hope that's not a bad word or something. Chinga. M-I-G-R-A. I don't know what this means. I probably should have looked it up before I painted it live. Alright, let me answer some questions. Do I sketch on paper and prep my designs beforehand? No, I don't. This is the most amount of prep you'll see me do, is me sketching this out before I get started. This design particularly is one of the most difficult ones for me to paint script letters, but bubbly. So I really like to make sure I know where all the strokes are going before I start adding in the outlines. And the other question here was, I love airbrushes. Do you have any gravity-fed brushes? I do have some gravity-fed brushes. Gravity-fed brushes with a cup on top instead of a bottle on the bottom. They're more for let's see, you can paint in a lower pressure. I use the siphon-fed airbrushes because I go through a lot more paint, and because I need to have them all at the same time. It wouldn't make sense for me to have a bunch of gravity-fed brushes here for t-shirts. But when I'm painting something like a helmet or a hard surface, yeah, I do have some gravity-fed brushes. I prefer these because I'm more of a graffiti artist nowadays. I want to spray a lot of paint really quickly. I'm not really into nice precision airbrushing. I can do it, but I'd rather just do a nice, big, messy graffiti design than the precise little portraits and stuff that people do with airbrushing. So on this design, I'm really still kind of sketching everything out. I'm filling out the letters, the full widths of the letters, and then I'll do an outline on them. I'm gonna do a black outline. By the time I'm done with this, you'll see why it's such a difficult design. I don't really like this G, but there it is. How do I decide whether to outline first or fill first? Okay, that's a lot of implications to that question. First of all, with the airbrush, it's a little different than a spray can graffiti, if you're familiar with that. Airbrushing, most of your paint is transparent, so as I did with these other two designs, I can do the black outlines and then fill in the inside without that fill covering up the black. That means the order of operations between airbrushing and using a spray can is different, or at least can be different. You can do the fill first and then do outlines, but I prefer to do the outlines first. Why? I don't know why. That's just how I've always done it. I feel like I have a lot more freedom when I'm not bound to the fill that I already made. I can make adjustments. I can make things bigger or smaller without going back and changing the fill. I also don't really think about the fill a whole lot until after the outlines are done. And being that the outlines are my favorite part, I just get to them straight away and then make the rest of the design work. The goal here is an interesting design and legibility, but it's also speed. As an airbrush artist, you're always doing work for other people and you want to get it out as quickly as possible. And the fastest way to do a design is to get these outlines done and then do a quick fill instead of vice versa. In this case, I guess on this design is where I did the fill first, and that's because these letters are so complex. They're not super visually complex, but they're really complex to paint that I almost need the fill first before I can put the outlines there. On something like this, I'm making up the letters as I go. On this, I need to already have the letters planned before I start, and that's the main difference between those two. After this black outline, I'm going to do a blue outline in background, and then this one will be done. Did I miss any? I don't think I missed any. It'll be fine. Oh, there's one. Blue outline, here we go. And I gotta go back and fill in all these little holes. Add some starbursts. The point of these starbursts is to even out the shape of the design. The whole overall shape needs to be well rounded. So I'm going to add some weight up here where it's empty, and I'm going to add some weight when the smaller spots. And then I'll do smaller accents where I just want to balance out the visual appeal, not necessarily the balanced weight. And it always goes this way doing this design where there's some areas that need to be filled in with the fill color that I didn't quite hit correctly with the black outline. Just going to fill in these white gaps inside the letters. And then do some simple white. It's fine. All right. Let's move on to this one. We have star with some script text. Okay. We'll do this. Pink and purple. Good old classic, like you did in elementary school, star. Make sure all your math is right. Something looks weird. I like to round all the points a little bit. This is something that most people would use a stencil for, and I would too if I had one. But I don't, so I'm not. I'm going to use this color. So when you want to have a really nice white, bright white highlight, a good way to do that is to make sure that this only applies when you're painting t-shirts, not on hard surfaces. Make sure that the coat of paint that you're putting the highlight on, in this case this pink, is still wet when you add it. And what you're going to do is while that paint's still wet, you're going to get up close to the shirt and paint really close with that white. And what that does is this new white paint and the air pressure pushes the pink paint through the shirt onto the board, leaving a really nice bright white line. So it's the white paint in conjunction with air pressure pushing away that still wet underlying paint. That's what provides you with a nice crisp white outline. Now this is still a little bit too wet for me to paint my black text on, so I'm going to leave it aside while I do the other side of this shirt. Some more graffiti letters with a boombox and a brick wall. This is going to be probably the main attraction here. Blue, red, and orange again. Dane07. This is a weird word. No offense to the dude. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. No, I'm gonna do so much. Alright. Oseven. This one will be neat. that'll be fine. Let's add this boombox real quick at the bottom. I'm gonna put it off-centered a little bit. It's just a quick cartoon one. It's not super elaborate. Starting with a rectangle. Add a handle and a shadow to it. Throw some buttons on the top. They look like they're inset. Some speakers. Bunch of dagger strokes back and forth. Shade them to make them look like they're a little rounded. Little displays and buttons or whatever. Something to give it some detail. Shade the whole thing and give it a shadow. And we're done with that. I'm gonna add some drips. Oh, I'm trailing. Alright. I still got a clog in my orange paint, so it's coming out pretty slow. I should be done with the fill by now. I'm gonna do my white highlights now while the paint's still wet, like we learned over there, that the white highlights work best on still fresh white paint. Again, I'm getting real close to the shirt so the air pressure helps push the wet paint through the shirt. This only works, of course, on white shirts, because what you're seeing is the white paint, but also you're seeing the white shirt itself shining through. Let me get this stencil so I can do the bricks. And we're going to do those in blue. goes this way. I'm going to spray at an angle this way so that my overspray doesn't come this way out of the shirt. Most of it goes towards the design that way. I'm not worried about getting a super consistent fill on these bricks because the blotchiness kind of adds to the effect of the brick wall. And since the bricks don't connect with each other, I'm not super worried about lining them up so that they actually would be spaced right. I'm going to be more concerned about making sure that the design comes even across the shirt. See, I'm angling my airbrush to avoid overspray coming outside of the stencil. And I'm not getting right up against the letters because I'm going to come back and do a solid outline on the whole word itself. And why not do the brick wall first? Well, because I don't know where the brick wall is going to go. I guess the biggest reason why I wouldn't do the brick wall first here is because, again, airbrush paint is not opaque. If I painted this brick wall and then painted this orange text on top of a brick wall, you would see the bricks through the text. It wouldn't cover it up like a spray can does. So I have to make sure that they're not overlapping. So I had to do the text first and then paint the bricks around it. I'm gonna add something. More intentional overspray just so I can add that white outline in a minute. The corners, like these corners and this corner, these are good places where you can add some extra. Just so that you can chisel it away with white. Like this. Alright, let's do the black script text on this star design, and then I'm going to be hopping off of here so that I can continue on with the rest of the day. Writing "Let Love Shine" in cursive. And I'll go ahead and do 3 different things. I'm going to overlap a star. I'm not going to keep it in the star. I did these purple stars before I planned the text out, and I knew that was a risk because I didn't know where the text was going yet. So now we have our text overlapping some stars that I would have rather it not necessarily overlap, but that's okay. I'll come back with that same purple and add a drop shadow to the text, and I'll add a couple more stars if I need to. I'm going to clean my airbrush out. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna finish this shirt off, and then I'm gonna hop on off of here. If anybody has any more questions, now's the time to ask them. And if I don't catch you in time, then please feel free to send a comment or a message or whatever you do. And I'll get back to you. Please let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Now that I am a YouTube partner and it's monetized, it's a lot more motivation to make a lot more content. Let me know what you want to see, what I can explain better. I know I don't explain everything perfectly here in the live streams. I got a lot on my mind at the same time. So I'll make videos just to explain things and just about particular techniques or whatever. Just let me know what you want to see, and I'll do that. I say it all the time, I appreciate you guys watching. It means a lot to me that you would want to watch me, that all the compliments and comments about how much you've learned really brightens my day. Thank you guys a whole lot. Please subscribe. Please continue watching and continue the feedback, good or bad. I want to know what I can improve just as much as what's working. So, all that said, thank you guys. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Now I'm going to go awkwardly turn off this stream because I have to do it at the computer. Lol. Bye, guys.